Okay, so let's begin with the session. Hello, Richa. Are you there?
Yeah, we
Okay.
can start now.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. I am Gyani Kumari, an Alpha MLSA and second year undergraduate at National Institute of Technology, Patna. And along with me, there is Richa, who is also an Alpha MLSA. And today we are here to give you insights to game development. So, let's begin the session. Over to you, Richa.
Okay. Okay, so first of all, let's understand what game development actually means. Basically, it's the overall process of creating a video game. A video game which you all might have played since your childhood only and would have observed a different world. See, we can create a whole new world and then bring them into reality using game development. And some of you might be thinking that if you all are very good in playing video games, then it's certain that you would be good in developing a video game as well. But let me tell you, that's not the reality. Mastering in playing a video game and developing one is entirely a different story. There are many components while creating a game, such as story, characters, audio, art, lighting, and this list goes on. That's the very reason we can say that it's hard fun. Can you change the slide?
Yeah.
Now, coming to the differences between game design and game development. Basically, game design defines the content and rules of the game. It describes how our game will actually look and act like. All the conceptual side of game, like the mechanics, the characters, levels, all these things fall under the scope of game design. And game development means bringing all these ideas, all these conceptual things to life. Next slide, Gary.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay. Now moving to stages of game development, which involves three main phases. First one is pre-production, where the ideology behind our game is discussed. We think of what the game is all about and how it will look like and what all it takes to finally make it. Now comes the production, which is usually the longest phase in game development. It typically involves three steps. First, we need to learn a programming language, which is actually optional. Now, see, there are some top programming languages used for game development, and there is no any specific language for the same. But for this session, we will be using C Sharp to build our game, as C Sharp is beginner friendly and it is much easier to understand also. Now, after learning the programming language, we need to choose a game engine on which we will be creating our game. And the last step is building the actual game. At the end, we have post production, which is the maintenance phase of game production. This is where any bug, if found, is fixed, and we keep on adding additional features if required. Now, moving further, we have two types of game developers. First one is indie game developers. Gyani next.
Yeah, yeah. It's here. 1 minute,
First one
Richa.
is
Let me share only the PPT. It's better. Yeah. It is it visible?
yeah, it's visible.
Okay.
See, we have two types of game developers. First one is indie game developer. They are the ones who create the entire game independently and they do scripting, designing, testing, everything all alone. And the second one is studio game developer, sorry, where a group of developers are there for different domains of game development. So basically, here a team is involved while developing the game. Next slide. See, there are some famous indie game developers. He is Bracky. You can search on YouTube also. There are many videos made by him on game development, and you can follow those steps to build your own game. And he is Eric Barrowen, and he is Danny. They all are very famous indie game developers. Next slide. And these are some famous game development studios. It's Nintendo, it's very famous one, and Rockstar Games, Valve Corporation. These are very famous game development studios. Okay, next slide, Gyani.
It's there.
No, it's not. Yeah, now it's visible.
I think there's some network issues.
Yeah. Now coming to the differences, different domains of game development. See, first we have a designer who creates the rule and structure of the game. They are responsible to create the game character and their graphics, visual related work. Then we have a programmer who creates logic within the game and controls the overall flow of the game. Then we have artists who are responsible for creating the scenes in our game, like the jungle view, and handle the visual part of the game. Next, we have level designer. They are the ones who create challenges and stages known as levels and then design them. Then comes the sound engineer. They are responsible for the sound effect like the voice editing and audio merging. And finally, we have taster. See, the game tester is the final person who assures the quality of the game and fixes any kind of bug if found before they go to the end user. Okay. Now, next slide, Gyani. See, these are some most popular tools and framework used in game development. Next slide. Gyani, are you there?
Yeah.
Next slide.
Is it not visible? I have changed this slide. Is it not visible?
The game engine one.
Yeah. The Unity. I have changed slide to Unity. Uh,
Okay, it's not visible to me then. Okay.
uh,
Now comes. Okay, should we
you can
ask to
explain
audience?
by your. You can
Okay.
explain by your own.
Yeah, okay. Now comes the game engine. See, for writing a text, we need a text editor like Word. In the same way, for creating video games, we need a game engine. Basically, it's a software that provides us all that we need to create video games quicker and more efficiently. It has a very friendly user interface and it provides us with all the set of necessary features like the libraries and all the required tools. There are many game engines available like Buildbox, Unity, Unreal Engine, Cosmos 2D, Game Maker, and many more. Among them, Unity and Unreal Engines are most commonly used. Both of them provides a variety of tools and features for development of 2D and 3D games. See, these are some of the games made on Unity. I hope most of you have played these games, especially this Temple Run 2. These are all made on Unity itself. Next slide, Gyani.
Yes, it's there. Unreal Engine.
Oh, okay. And these games are made on Unreal Engine. See, even your all-time favorite game, PUBG, this is also made on Unreal Engine. So this was all about the theoretical portion of game development. Now I would like to hand over to Gyani for further explanation.
Yeah. So yeah. Hello everyone. So today we are going to make a game like this. You can see here. This is the game which we are going to make. Okay. So for making a game, we need a game engine. Like in the similar way, like if we want to write any text, so we need a text editor, or we can say if we want to write something, then we need a word. Okay, so in the similar way, if we want to make a game, then we need a game engine. So for making this game, we use Unity because it is beginner friendly. So for downloading Unity, as I mentioned in the form that it is the prerequisite of this session. So, but I am going to demonstrate that how you can download Unity. So for that, you have to just open a browser. Let me share my screen again. Lisa, is it visible? The browser?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So open a browser and just search for download Unity Hub. So you can see there is an option of download Unity. It is basically the site of unity3d.com. So you have to just click over here. And after clicking on that download Unity, you can see there is an option of download Unity Hub. Okay, so you have to download Unity Hub from here only. Okay, so after downloading this Unity Hub, it looks like this. As I have already downloaded it. So if you download it, it looks like this. And as you can see here, there are many projects listed. But as you download it for first time, so this section will be empty. Okay, so uh, uh, okay, so in this project section, you can see there is here I have signed in with my account. So as you download Unity for first time, so you do not have any account. So first of all, you have to make an account. Okay. Then after making the account, you have to go on this install section. Okay. So in this install section, you can see there is an Unity editor. I have downloaded it previously, but you won't have any Unity editor in this install section. So for installing this Unity editor, you have to just go on this add option, and when you click here, you can see there are different Unity editors of different versions. So you can choose any of them. Okay, and after choosing the Unity editor, you have to click on this next option. Okay, so here you can see there are many tick boxes. This is basically Microsoft Visual Studio Community, which is for writing the scripts. Like if you make your game, then you have to write some scripts. Okay, so for writing a script, you need a code editor. So this is for that purpose. Okay, and you can see there are many platforms. Like if you want to make your game for Android, then you have to choose this Android build support. If you want to make your game for iPhone, then you have to choose this iOS build support. And in the similar way, you can choose any build support according to your need. For now, we choose for this game, you can choose this Android build support, and then click on this next option. Okay, so here you can see there is a tick box of agreement. You have to just click over here and then click on this next. And as soon as you click on this next, the Unity engine starts downloading. Okay, but it takes some time because setup is of 6 to 7 GB. So be patient. And after downloading Unity engine, you are able to see a engine in the similar way as it is listed in my install section. Okay, so after installing this Unity engine, you have to go in this project section again, and you are all set to begin with your new project. Okay, so for making a new project, you have to create from here. You can see in this project section, there is option of new. We have to just click over here. And yeah, here you can see there are different templates. These templates means if you choose 3D template, then you are going to make your game 3D. And if you want to make your 2D game, then you have to choose 2D templates. Okay, so these templates are for different purposes, but in today's session we are going to make 3D game. Okay, so I have chosen this 3D template, and then here you have to just rename your project. Okay, so any name you want to give to your project, you can rename from here. So let me rename it as racing car, as we are going to make a car. Oh, sorry. This is the project name, and this is the location. In your local files where you want to put this folder, you have to choose from here, and you can choose any folder from your local files. Okay, so as I have already chosen this game development. Okay, so yeah, after selecting the template, renaming your project, and choosing the location, you can click on this create option, and it will take some time to load. If you uh, if you have already downloaded the Unity, you can follow me. And if you do not have Unity, then you can just go with the session, and as recording will be there, then you can follow it in later time. Yeah. So this is the interface of Unity. If you download it for first time, so Unity provides us something like this main camera and directional light, and this is a layout. Okay, so you can see this is the scene view and this is the game view. I'm going to demonstrate all of these things, but before that, let me change the layout. For changing the layout, you have to go on this window section, and here you can see there is an option of layout, and just choose this 2x3 layout. I prefer this layout because it gives scene view and game view simultaneously. So we can see both the views at the same time. Okay, so this is the basic interface of Unity. Okay, so this one is the scene view. Okay, so scene view is basically a view in which all the things you want to add in your game, like if you want to add player in your game, add enemy in your game, or any environment, anything you want to add in your game, you have to add over here only. Okay, and anything you add in your scene view will be visible in the game view. Okay, and like if you add a player in this scene view, okay, or if you want to add a player in your game, then you have to add over here only, and if you add anything in this scene view will be visible in this game view. Okay, and this one is the hierarchy window. It is basically you can say anything you add in your game will be listed over here. By default, Unity provides us two things, this main camera and this directional light. Okay, so this main camera is basically a simple camera which renders the scene view, and this directional light, you can say directional light in Unity is similar to sun in real life. You can see the thumbnail of directional light is similar to sun, and parallel rays are emerging from it. So these three things are interconnected. If I say in a single line, then anything you want to add in your game, you have to add in the scene view. Anything you add in the scene view will be visible in this game view, and anything you add in the scene view will be listed in this hierarchy window. For example, if I add a game object, so for adding a game object, you have to just click on this plus sign, and here in the 3D object, there are many game objects. You can see cube, a sphere, capsule. Let's add a cube. Okay, so you can see as soon as I added a cube in this game, it is added in the scene view. Okay, and it is added in the scene view, so it is listed in this hierarchy window. And as it is added in the scene view, it is visible in this game view. Okay, so these three things are interconnected. Now this is the project section. Okay, so all the assets and all the scenes, scripts, all the things you add in your game will be listed over here. You can see there is a sample scene. This one is listed in this project window, and this one is inspector window. It is basically a property of it is there for property of any game object. Okay, so if you click on this cube or any game object, let's click on this cube. So all the components related to this cube, like its position, its rotation, its scaling, all the things related to this cube will be listed in this inspector window. And you can change its component from here also. Like this is the cube. Okay, and uh, if I want to change its position, so you can see there is a position option in this inspector window. So if I change its position, let's say in X direction, I am changing its position. You can see it is moving in X direction. It is moving in scene view and is visible in this game view that the cube is moving. Okay, you can change its rotation also from here. You can see cube is rotating. Okay, so you can rotate it along x-axis, y-axis, or z-axis, any direction you want. Okay. If I change its and this one is the scale. This is for the size of the game object. See, currently the size of this cube is 1 into 1 into 1. If I change it to 5, you can see in the x direction it is changed to 5 unit. And if I change in y also, z also, then it is the cube of 5 into 5 into 5. Okay, so this inspector window is basically there for the component of the game object. Okay, so from here you can change the position, rotation, and scaling of a game object. Okay, so this is the this is all about the let me change it to 1. Yeah, so this is all about this interface, and you can see I am able to change its position, change the position of game object from here also. Okay, by clicking on these arrows, I can change its position and in all directions. So what is this? I am going to tell you. Okay, so for changing up the position of a game object or rotation or a scaling, you can change all the things from its inspector window. But there is an alternate way also. Okay, so the alternate way is you can see there is some tools listed here. Currently, I have chosen this move tool. Okay, so if you choose the move tool, you are able to move your game object. Moving a game object means changing its position. Okay, so you can see here, this is the direction. The here it is mentioned that this red color is for X direction, this Z this direction, and this green color is for Y direction. So if I click on this red color and move my mouse, then its position along X direction is changing. And if I want to change its position along Y direction, then I have to click on this green color arrow and just move my mouse, it is moving. Okay, so this is all about this move tool. And if you want to rotate your game object, this cube, then you have to choose this rotate tool. Okay, so after choosing this rotate tool, you can see there is a structure of some sphere like a structure. So there are 3 colors also. So if you click on this green color, so this green color is for Y direction. It means it will rotate along Y direction. So if I click on this green color and just move my mouse, then you can see it is rotating along Y direction. Okay, similar way you can rotate it along Z direction and along X direction by just clicking on these things and just move your mouse, it will rotate in the similar way. And you can see if I rotating here in the inspector window here, its rotation is changing. Okay, so you can reflect these things from here also, and from here also. After this, there is a scale tool. This scale tool is similar of this scale tool. Okay, so you can change its size, and these three colors are for the same directions. Like this red color is for X direction, blue one is for Z, and this green color is for Y direction. So if you want to increase its size in X direction, then we have to just click on this red color and move your mouse. Its size is increasing. Okay, so and for if you want to increase its size in Y direction, you have to click on this green color and its size is increasing in Y direction. After that, there is a rect tool. This rect tool is not more used. It is for basically for 2D game object, but it is also for resizing your game object. But as we have a scale tool, so we do not use this rect tool in 3D game object. Okay, but in 2D game object there is not any scale tool, so we use this rect tool. After that, there is a option of there is a tool which is the combination of move tool, rotate tool, and a scale tool. Okay, you can see if I click on this this option, then there is a arrow also which is for move tool. There is a sphere also which is for rotate tool, and this is for a scale tool. So if you you can do three things at the same time. If you want to move your game, you can click on this arrow. Then if you want to rotate it, you can click on this, and if you want to scale it, you can click on this. Okay, so this gives basically the chance to do all the three functions simultaneously. And there is a move to hand tool. You can see in the corner there is a hand tool. It is basically to render this scene view. Okay, so if you want to move in this scene view, you can choose this hand tool. You can see the scene view by standing at a single place. You can see all the environment. Okay, so around all the direction you can see. Okay, and if you want to move in this scene view, like if I choose this hand tool, I am standing at a position. I am able to only see all the directions, but I am not able to move. So if you want to move in this scene view, like if the game object, let's say this cube, if this cube is here, okay, so if this cube is there and I want to go to that cube, okay, I do not want to move that cube to me, I want to go to that cube, then how can I go? So for that, there are two ways. You can press your keys, press the up and down keys from your keyboard. Okay, so if you press up key, you will move forward, and if you press down key, you will move in backward direction. You can see I am pressing up key, then I am going in forward direction, and I am pressing the down key, I am going in backward direction. Similar for left and right direction. If you press right key, you will move in right direction, and if you press left key, you will move in left direction. Okay, and if you write, if there is a alternative way also, for that you can use WASD keys. So if you use this up and down arrow keys, then you have to just click up and down arrow keys. But if you use WASD keys, then you have to first choose this rect tool. That you can choose this rect tool by just pressing right click of your mouse, and after pressing right click, you have to just press W key to move in forward direction, S key for move in backward direction. For right direction, you can press D key, and for left direction, you can press A key. Okay, so you can also move in upward direction. For that, you have to press E key, and for downward direction, you have to press Q key. Okay, so this is all about movement. How can you move in this scene view and these tools? Okay, so let me delete this cube. Yeah. So this is the basic idea about this Unity interface and the movement tools. Now we now coming to the main point, the game which we are going to make. So for that, I have already downloaded an asset. Okay, so I am going to just import over here. I'll share that asset for to you all. Okay, you can download it and just begin with from here. Okay, so for importing an asset, you have two options. Okay, so if you if you want to download it from like online, you can go in this window section, and in this window section there is an option of asset store. From here you can download the assets. Okay, so there are paid assets also and free assets also, so you can download the free assets. But as I have already downloaded, so for that, if you want to import an already downloaded asset, so for that you have to go on this game object asset section. Okay, you can see in here there is an asset section. In this asset section you can see there is the option of import package. Okay, so as I am importing it from my local files, so I have to click on this custom package, and this is the package which I have already downloaded. So just click it and open it, import it. Yeah, now it is imported as a. And what is this asset? So asset in Unity is basically a combination of all the 3D models, audio files and images which you can use, use in your project. Okay, so as I said that all the assets scenes are listed in this project window. So you can see as soon as I imported the assets, it is listed in this project window. The asset is RCK 2.3. You can search it for in the asset store, Unity asset store, and download from there also. Okay, so this asset has a scene. This one is the sample scene. This current scene is the sample scene, and I have made a prototype of this simple scene. Okay, so for opening any scene, you have to just double click on there. So let me double click on it. Yeah, so you can see I have yeah, this is the scene which I have made. Okay, as we have not more time, so I have already made it. I'll share the this prototype with you all. You have to just download it and your game. So as you can see, we are here. We are we are not at the same place which I have shown in the video. Okay, so in the video we are at this place. Yeah, we are here in the starting. So, but in this scene view, we are not at that place. So for moving to that, you can use the same movement tools as I said. You can press your right click and press your WSD keys, and you can move anywhere. So this is the place where I want to go. So I can go there by pressing the right click and then pressing the WSD keys. Yeah, this is the place which was visible in that game. So our scene view is set, but you can see our scene view is set. It is visible. It is similar to that picture which is present in this game. But our game view is not looking like this. Okay, so we have to set this game view also. So for setting the game view, like for setting this scene view, we do not have to do anything. Just press your mouse and you can move anywhere. But for setting this game view, we have to you have to move your move the main camera. Okay, because this main camera renders the scene view, so you have to move this main camera. So for moving the main camera, there are two ways. Okay, so one you can do it manually just click on this main camera and choose the move tool, and now you can move your main camera. You can see if I am moving it in scene view, the game view is changing. So you have like you can move this main camera, and you can go to this place by changing its position and rotation. But it is little bit difficult because maintaining the main camera and its rotation and its position is little bit difficult. So there is an alternative way also. Okay, so for that way you have to first set your scene view. As setting the scene view is not more difficult, it is easy. So you feel some difficulties in this, like in move this scene view, but with the time you are able to move in the scene view easily. So you can see I have set this. Okay, so you can see I have set this scene view. Now we want this game view to look like this. So the first option is to move the main camera, but that is little bit difficult. So second option is little bit easy. You have to just click on this main camera, and you have to go on this game object section. Okay, so here you can see there is an option of align with view. This align with view means aligning a game object with this scene view. And as we have clicked on this main camera, so it means aligning the main camera with this scene view. Okay, so just click on this align with view, and you can see the game view is aligned with this scene view. Let me it's perfect. Let me align the main camera accordingly. Align with view. Yeah. Now the scene view and game view is aligned. Okay. So now we have to add our car in this scene view. Okay. So for adding a car, the car is present in the asset. Okay. So you have to just open this folder, this asset folder, and this asset folder there is an option of models. In this models, you can see there is an option of vehicles. Okay, so in this vehicle there is a car. So for anything in this scene view, we can just drag and drop it. Okay, so just drag it and drop it in this scene view. If I am dropping it in the scene view, you can see it is visible in the game view. And as soon as I drop it in the scene view, you are able to see it in the hierarchy window also. Okay, so you can see as I put it in my scene view, it is visible in this game view, and it is listed in this hierarchy window. So just first of all rename it because it is going to be work like a player. So let's rename it as a player. And yeah, if I move it in upward direction, then here I want to tell you one thing. If I hit on this play option, you can see the car is flying in the air. But if it is in real world, then it should fall. Okay, but here it is not falling. So for making any game object act like a real body, you have to add a component to it, and that component is called rigid body. Okay, so for adding rigid body to this layer, you have to go in its inspector section, and here you can see there is option of add component. So just click on it and search here rigid body. Okay, so you can see there is a rigid body added to its inspector window, and just increase its mass. Okay, because it is a car, so it is not going to be of 1 kg. So let's increase its mass of 2000 kg. And if now I hit play, you can see it is falling. Okay, so it means it is working like a real body. And in this rigid body, you can see there is option of use gravity, and it is ticked mark. It means it is using gravity, and due to gravity it should fall, so it is falling. So this is the concept of rigid body. Okay, now rigid body is added to a car, and car is working like a real body. But again, if I hit play, and if I press my up keys or down keys, it is not moving. The car is static. But what we want, if it is a car, it should move. If we press our up keys, it should move in forward direction, and for down keys, it should move in backward direction. As well as it should rotate also. Okay, so for that we have to write some scripts. Okay, so we have to add some scripts to this game, this player, so that it should move. And for adding a script, you have to go here only in this inspector window. Anything you want to add in your game object, you have to go in this inspector window and click on this add component. And you can see here is the option of new script. So just click on it, and you can rename your script here only. So let's, as it is going to control our car, so let's rename it as player controller. So this is the player controller script. Just create and add, and it is added in this player. You can see. Okay. But we have to edit this script. We have to write some lines of code in this script. And this, if you want to see this script, you have to just click on this assets, and it is present here. As I said that all the assets and scripts is present in this project window. So this script is inside this asset, and this asset is inside this project window. Okay, so now we have to edit this script so that our car is moving. Okay, so that our car should move. So for editing this script, you have to just double click on it, and it will open in Visual Studio. Okay, so just double click on it. It will open in Visual Studio. This is not VS Code. Okay, it is Visual Studio Community. It is the same code editor which we have downloaded during the installation of Unity engine, the Microsoft Visual Studio Community. Okay, so this, if you open any script in this, okay, after double click it, then you are able to see this default script. Okay, so Unity provides us this default script, and I'm going to demonstrate this default script as well as how you write a script for moving a car. So these 3 lines of code is a namespace. This is similar to like in C++ you write using namespace.com, or okay, you include the things from other folders. So this is the similar, and this is the public class player controller. This player controller is the name of that script which we have renamed. Okay, and this one is the mono behavior class. So mono behavior class is basically a combination of all the methods and all the functions which Unity provides us. Okay, so it contains all the functions which we are going to use in our script. And inside this mono behavior, there are 2 functions, void start and void update. Okay, so this void start will be called before the first frame update. Okay, so it will be executed before the first frame update, and this update function is called once per frame. Means if the frame is changing 30 on the 30 fps, that is 30 frame per second, so it will be called each time. Okay, so this is the update function, this is the start function. We have to write the code inside these things. Okay, so as we have not more time, so I have written the code. Just I am just pasting over here and explaining all the lines. Okay, so just So this is the code. This is the 4 lines of code, and this one is 4 lines of code. That is the total 8 lines of code make our car to move. Okay. So I am going to explain this code. So this one is this 4 lines of code is only a declaration of variables. Okay. So like if you write a program in C language that to sum two numbers, then you have to write some variables, declare some variables like int a, then int b, and then you add a plus b. In the similar way, these are the float variable. Okay, and before that there is public. Okay, it means these two are public variables and these two are private variables. And public variables means you can access it from outside of code, and private variables means you cannot access it from outside of code. Okay, so I have made a public float a speed, which is basically for the speed of car. Okay, from which speed we want to move our car, you can change from here a speed. You can change the speed from here also. And this one is for rotational speed. Okay, rot speed means from which speed you want to rotate your car. And these two private variables are there, input horizontal and input vertical. I'll tell you about these things in the further time. Okay, so these are the 4 variables. Now we want to move our game. It means we want to update our game, our car, when we press our keys. Okay, so as we want to update our car again and again, so we have to write the code in this update section. Because this, if we write the code in the start section, then it will call only once. But what we want, we want that if we press our key again and again, then the car should move again and again. So for that we have to write the code in update section. Okay, so here you can see first line of code is input vertical is equal to input dot get axis vertical. So this input dot get axis vertical is here for taking the input. Okay, like if I show you in Unity, in this file section there is an option of build setting and then player setting. Okay, so in this Unity there is an input manager. Okay, and in this input manager there is a access. And the same thing we are trying to accessing from our code. In our code you can see there is input, that is the input manager dot, like if we want to access anything inside a class, then we have to put the dot operator. So this is for that, because because this access is inside this input manager. Okay, so we have to write input dot access. Okay, so we are accessing that access by writing input dot get access. Okay, so from these two words we have accessed this access. Okay, and inside this access you can see there are many things: horizontal, vertical, fire 1, fire 2, jump, and many things. Okay, so you can see here in this input dot get access I have written vertical. Okay, so this vertical means we are accessing this vertical. Okay, input dot get access means inside this input there is access, we are accessing it, and inside this access we are passing vertical. So this is the vertical. And if I open this vertical, you can see there is negative button and positive button. So this positive button is denoted by up key, and this negative button is denoted by down key. So it is basic, and there are alternate buttons also, like alternate positive button is W key, and then alternate negative button is S key. So it is basically for, like if we have written that input dot get access vertical, it means if you press up key, then it is as it is a positive button, so it will return a positive integer. And if it will return a positive integer, then it is going to assign in this input vertical, this input vertical variable. Okay, So if you press up key, then a positive number is going to be assigned to that input vertical variable. And if you press down key, then a negative number is going to be assigned that input vertical variable. Okay, in the similar way for W and S keys. And if you do not press anything, then 0 is going to assign in that variable. Okay, so here if you from this code we are accessing the vertical option of that input manager, and it is saying that if you press up key, then positive number will assign in this input vertical. If you press down key, then negative number will assign in this input vertical. And the positive number is equal to +1, and the negative number is equal to -1. Okay, so by this line of code, we are assigning this input vertical with +1 or -1 or 0. If you press up key, then it is going to be assigned with +1. Otherwise, if you press down key, then it is going to be assigned with -1. Otherwise, with 0. Okay, so we have initialized it with this line of code. Okay, and then here I have written a code for moving the car. Okay, so for moving a car, like in this Unity, you can see this is the car. If I click on this player, this is the car. If I change its position in X direction, you can see car is moving in forward direction. And if I decrease its position in X direction, it is moving in backward direction. What it means? It means we have to access its position. We have to change its position, but we cannot change it manually from here only. Okay, because we are not going to change from here again and again. Okay, so for writing a code, we have to access its position, and by writing the code, we have to change its position again and again when we press our keys. Okay, and this position is present inside this transform. You can see if I open this transform, then there are three things: position, rotation, and scale. So for changing its position, we have to access its transform. Okay, so if we access like this, we can say that this transform is parent, and these three things are child of it. Okay, so from here you can see in this code I have written transform. It means I am accessing that transform which is present in this inspector window. Okay, and after I have put a dot operator, it means I am accessing some its child or its method which is present inside this transform. Okay, so I am accessing the position which is present inside the transform. Okay, so I have put this dot operator, and for changing its position, changing the position of any game object, there is a function inside this Unity, inside this C# language, and it is called translate. Okay, so if you want to change the position of any game object, you have to change its you have to use the function translate. And inside this translate, there is a parameter. You can see this is the parameter which we are passing. So it is clear that we are accessing the position of the car from this two words, transform or translate. Okay, so after accessing this position, we pass a parameter. So this parameter is basically, you can see there is vector 3.forward. It means we want to move our car in forward direction. Okay, so this is for that. Then I have multiplied it with time.delta time. So this time.delta time is for making our game independent of system. Okay, so it will make our game independent of frame rates. Okay, because different system has different dependencies, so it will make our game independent. And then I have multiplied it with a speed. So this speed is the same speed which from which we want to move our car. Okay, and then I have multiplied it with input vertical. So this input vertical is the same in which we are taking input. So if you press up key, then this input vertical will assign with +1. And if it is +1, then this whole thing is going to be positive. And if this whole thing is going to be positive, then the car will move in forward direction. Okay, because this vector 3 dot forward means it is the car will move in forward direction. But if you press down key, then this input vertical will assign with -1, and it will make the whole thing negative. And after, if this whole thing will be negative, then this vector 3 dot forward will work in opposite direction. Okay, so it is moving in forward direction by default, but as this input vertical is negative, so it will move our car in backward direction. Okay, so this is for that purpose, that if you press your up key, then the car will the position is changed accordingly, that the car will move in forward direction, and if you press down key, then the car will move in backward direction. And these two lines are for rotation. Okay, so if you, as I have changed the position of the car, in the similar way I will change the rotation of the car. So you can see there is input horizontal, and I have assigned it with input dot get axis horizontal. So this input is similar to that input manager. Okay, so I am accessing that input manager which I have shown by writing this input, and then dot for accessing the child of that input manager. And in that input manager, let me show again. Okay, so in this input manager, you can see there is a option of horizontal also, and there is positive button as right and negative button as left key. There are alternate buttons also for positive button D key and for negative button A key. Okay, so it means if you press right key, then +1 will assign to this input horizontal. Okay, if you press left key, then -1 will assign to this input horizontal, and it will work in the similar way as this input vertical will work. So it will assign with +1, -1, or 0 if you do not press any key. And now I have to change the rotation. So this rotation is also present in the transform window. You can see in this transform section there is rotation, and if I change its rotation, it is changing. You can see along x-axis, along y-axis. So here we want to change the rotation of the car along y-axis. Okay, so we want to move our car in left and right direction. It means we want to change its rotation along y-axis. So for that, I have written that transform dot rotate. It means I am accessing the transform component. Inside that, I am accessing the rotation. And for accessing rotation, there is a function rotate. As for similar to as accessing position, there is a function translate. In the similar way, there is a function rotate for accessing the rotation. Okay, so transform dot rotate means we are accessing the rotation of the car. And here there is a parameter. Okay, so this parameter means vector 3 dot up means we are rotating the car along y-axis. Okay, so we have about y-axis. Sorry, we are rotating the car about y-axis. Okay, so y-axis will be fixed and it will rotate about y-axis. This time dot delta time is for the similar purpose, and this rotational speed is for rotating the car. Okay, so from which speed you want to rotate your car, and this input horizontal is for taking input, that which key you are pressing, accordingly it will behave. So this whole 8 lines of code is for rotation and position. Okay, so just save it, and after saving it, if I open Unity, it will load. Okay, so now my script has been loaded. If I click on it, this play option, you can see. I think there is some. Yeah, here is the problem. I have okay. So I have renamed the file name with player controller, and you can see there this P is capital. Okay, and in this script I have made it a smaller. So that's why it is not working. Let's make it capital. Now it should work. Yeah. Now you can see the car is moving and also rotating. Okay, so because we are able to changing its position as well as rotation. Okay, but there is a bug. If you see it, then there is a bug that if car is moving in forward direction, then it is only moving. Okay, that is we are not following the car. We are means our camera is not following the car. Okay, so what we want that if car is moving in forward direction, our camera should also move in the forward direction. Okay, it means like if I move my car, then you can see the distance between the camera and the car is increasing, but it should be constant. Okay, so for that we have to add another script to this camera, main camera. Okay, so for adding a script to this main camera, we have to just click on this add component, then new script, and here just as it is going to follow the car, so let's rename it as player follower, and then create and add. Now it is added. Just double click on it, and it will open in this uh, Microsoft Visual Studio Community. And here also I have to just write 2 lines of code. Here what I want to change the position of camera according to the position of player. Okay, so for that let me write the code. So you can see in this game view, if our car is moving, if I press the up keys, then our car is moving. Then if the car is moving, then you can let me play it once. Yeah, so if you can see here in this inspector window, if I moving the car, then its position is changing. Okay, but in this main camera it's okay, so in this main camera its position is not changing. Okay, so main camera is a static, but the player, that is the car, is moving. Okay, so but we want that if car is moving, main camera should move. For that I have write this line of code. Okay, so it means we are changing the position of main camera, so we have to access that position. And for accessing the position, as I said that it is present inside this transform class, so just write transform dot position. Okay, it denotes the position of camera. And here I have to assign the position of this camera to the position of player, because the position of player is changing. And if I assign this position of this camera with this position of this player, then it will work accordingly. So for accessing that position of that player, I have written that player.transform.position. It means choose access that player first, then go on its transform section, and then go on its position and assign it to the transform.position. You can see here I have write transform.position, but before that I have written player and then dot, but here I have not written camera dot. Okay, because this script is inside this camera itself. Inside this camera, this player follower is there, so it is denoting that if you write anything, it is only for the camera. Okay, and for any other things you have to denote it that yeah, it is I am writing it for player, so you have to write player dot. Okay, So I have assigned this player dot camera position with this player position, and you can see I have add some offset to this position of this player. What this offset means? So if you can think, if you assign the position of this camera with the position of this player, then this camera is here, okay, and this car is also just below it. You can see here, this is the car and this is the main camera, okay. But what we want that if the car is moving, then there should be a constant distance between that main camera and that player, okay. So for maintaining a constant distance, I have added this offset. So this offset is basically a distance which I have declared here, and it is a 3D distance, like in x direction, y direction, and z direction. In the three directions there is some values, okay. So this is the offset, and it is I have declared it private, so that no one can access it from outside of the code. And I have added to it added it to the position of player, okay, so that there should be a constant distance between this main camera and this player, okay. And this I have declared here this player, okay. So as a player is a game object, so I have declared it as public game object player, okay. So this is all about this player follower script. Just save it and open the Unity. It will load, and yeah, after loading, if I hit play, let me first maximize. If you want to play your game in the full mode, then you have to just click on this maximize on play and then play. I think there are some errors in the code. Okay, yeah. So as I have written the code, and in this code, I have declared a game object, and I have accessed the position of this game object, but I have not linked this game object with player. So here in this main camera, you can see I have added a script, and here this player is assigned with none, okay. So for linked this script, this script is linked with this main camera, but for linked this script to this player, because it is also going to use the position of our player. So for that we have to put our player in this script, okay. So for putting this player in this script, you have to just drag and drop over here, and now it is fine. Now if I hit play, it should work. Yeah, it is. And you see now our camera is following the car. If car is moving, our camera is also moving, okay. So game is yeah, it's look interesting that you can able to move your car and also rotate your car, okay. So but there is little bit silence, so just let's add some sound to this game, okay. So for adding a sound to this game, you have to add some component that is called audio source. So just search here, you can see there is option of audio source, and yeah, this is the audio source, and you can see audio clip is none, but we add yeah, in this asset section, you can see there is a folder of sounds, and if you double click on it, there are many sounds here, like this sound of you can see this is the sound of brake, and there are many sounds, okay, different types of sounds. There are also sounds of police car, okay. So you can add any sound if you want to add in your game, okay. So let me add a sound, okay. So just click on this player, drag it and drop over here. As it is a high sound, so let me decrease its volume. You can decrease its volume from here. uh, okay, and you can see there are some tick boxes in this audio source. The first one, this is this play on awake, means as soon as I hit the play button, it should the sound should play. Okay, and there is option of loop. It means as soon this is similar to the loop or autoplay, you can say. As it will it will make our audio source to play again and again during our game. Okay, so till which time we are going to play our game, this sound will play in loop, and we want to play this sound again and again. Okay, so we click on this loop section. Okay, so this loop option will be ticked, and then if I hit play, okay, so you can see sound is added. Okay, so sound is added to this game object. Okay, and we can add many sounds, like for if you can add many sound. Let's add another sound for a start the car. Okay, so for that I have an audio clip. I have downloaded it from Google. You can download it from Google. Okay, let's add another audio source and assign it with this start sound. Okay. And if I let me decrease some sound. Yeah, now if I hit play, you can see there is a sound of a start a car, and then it is moving. So you can see there is a here you can see the car is inside the ground. Okay, it is little bit inside that ground. This bug is due to the uh, let me add something. Yeah, so there is a component named box collider. Okay, so that box collider does what that does, that will add a collider around this car. Okay, so for adding a box collider, you have to just search here box collider. Okay, and let me, yeah, you can see this is the car. Sorry, yeah, so this is the car. We want to add a box collider. So for that, this is the box collider. We can edit it by clicking on this edit collider. Okay. So I have clicked on this edit collider, and then let me first center it in the y direction. Okay. You can just drag your mouse and it will work. I am just covering the car with this collider. Okay, so that it will collide with the ground and it will not go inside that ground. Okay. Yeah, I think it is better. Let's check once. Yeah, now it is moving. Okay, you can see it is not inside the ground. Now the game is all set. Okay, so you can add more functionality also, like you can add some obstacles in this game, and you can write a script for, like, if the car hit that obstacle, then the game should end. Or you can add higher score or a score type systems. You can also add a menu bar. Okay, so a start, end, quite, that types of things. So yeah, this is all about this game. Okay, so I'll share the prototype with you all. You can follow the recording, okay, of this session. You can make, and if you feel any difficulty, then you can ask. Okay, so Lisa. Hello. Okay, so if you have any query, you can ask. Uh,
Hello.
yeah.
हाँ ज्ञानी, which asset did you download?
Yeah, I am sharing. The name is R. Let me. I am sharing the prototype. Okay. And if you want to download the asset from Unity Asset Store, so you have to just go in Unity Asset Store and sort the all the assets by free asset. Okay, and then you can search for car racing assets, and there are many different assets also. You can choose any. Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else? You can also publish your game on some websites, like there is itch.io, which allow us to publish our game in free. Okay, so you can make your game and publish your project, and then you can edit it in your resume also. And after this session, I'll share a feedback form. So fill that form, and who fill that form will get a certificate from MLSA. Okay, so just fill that form. I'll share through mail. Anyone have any question? Okay, so if you don't have any questions, then just wrap up the session. I'll mail the feedback form, just fill it. Okay, so after filling that form, you are eligible for the certificate. So if you do not have any question, you can leave.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for joining.
Nice.
So,
Thank you.
Kumar. Thank you.
Thank you, Gyani.
Thank you. Yes, so let's end the session. Let me stop the recording.